Good morning, I'm writtn. Limbo Prime has returned with Prime Resurgence, and I will be showing you some builds of it. If you master Limbo, you can handle Corpus and Lua Spy, Mobile Defense, Rescue, Interception by yourself. You can think of Limbo as a handy frame that can handle most of the troublesome missions that do not require defeating the enemy. If you are already master of Limbo, skip to the necessary part of this video. First, let's review the Rift, a different dimension designed specifically for Limbo. From here, I will use diagrams to explain it. On the left is the normal dimension, and the colored one on the right is the Rift dimension. Rift is a kind of another dimension, and there are roughly 3 rules. Rule number 1. In the Rift, Warframe's energy is gradually restored. Rule 2. Rift and normal dimensions are unable to interfere with each other. Rule 3. Abilities can penetrate through. Let's look at Rule 1 first. When Warframe enters the Rift, its energy is gradually restored. In addition, the screen will light up and there will be a strange sound at all times. If you want to get out of the Rift, do the roaring. Warframes other than Limbo can leave the Rift after some time. Next is Rule 2. It is difficult to understand that the Rift and normal dimensions cannot interfere with each other. Let's look at the diagram and the actual scene and try to understand the rule by feeling. First, Limbo is in the Rift dimension and the enemy is in the normal dimension. In this case, Limbo cannot attack enemies in normal dimensions with weapons. Here's an actual example. First, Limbo rolls and enters the Rift. The screen turns white and you are in the Rift. Let's try attacking an enemy in this state. No matter how you attack with a weapon, you cannot attack the enemy. Now, can the enemy attack Limbo in the Rift? The answer is no. In this case, the enemy cannot attack Limbo either. Here's an actual example. Limbo is in the Rift dimension, standing there doing nothing. Enemies are attacking Limbo, but he is not damaged at all. The same result is obtained when the enemy is in the Rift and Limbo is in the normal dimension. Therefore, the Rift and the normal dimension cannot interfere with each other. This rule also applies to lasers on spy missions. Once you are in the Rift with Limbo, you can pass through all the lasers. It sounds quite convenient, but make sure to leave the Rift for the final hack. The terminal cannot enter the Rift dimension, so the hacking will be done in the normal dimension. It is easy to be forgotten. Cameras will detect you, so you will need to avoid or destroy them. The Corpus camera can be destroyed in one shot with the Force ability, so be sure to use it. Writtn etc. can be picked up exceptionally if they are within the Force ability range. Finally, Rule 3. Unlike normal attacks, abilities can jump between dimensions. Abilities can reach from normal dimensions to the Rift, and from the Rift to normal dimensions. Weapons summoned by abilities can also be used normally. However, Xmas abilities are also treated as abilities, so their attacks must be avoided. These are the 3 general rules of Rift. Let's learn these rules and use the passive abilities and full abilities as well. Next, let's take a look at passive abilities. Limbo can move freely between the normal dimension and the Rift dimension when rolling. At this time, a gate is created. If other Warframe passes through this gate, it will enter the Rift. Rolling again allows them to leave the Rift. Others, except Limbo, can exit the Rift automatically after some time. Enemies can also use this gate, so if you are unlucky, Limbo may be defeated. When you're in a squad with others and using Limbo, keep in mind that you should roll in the air. This will prevent your allies from entering the Rift by mistake. Avoid rolling around the terminal as well. They will not be able to access the terminal. You can tell if you are in the Rift or in the normal dimension by the brightness of the screen and the sound. Remember these characteristic sounds to stay safe. Next is the first ability, Vanish. This ability can be used on enemies and allies in the same dimension as Limbo. If Limbo is in the normal dimension, it can only be used on targets in the normal dimension. And if Limbo is in the Rift, it can only be used on targets in the Rift. When Limbo is in the normal dimension, the effect is to send the used target to the Rift. Conversely, if Limbo is in the Rift, the effect is to send the target back to the normal dimension. The object sent to the Rift with this ability will have a particular visual effect. Basically, it is used to send the hostage to the Rift. If you use this ability on a hostage in a rescue mission, they will be sent to the Rift. So they will not take any damage from enemies in the normal dimension. This allows you to safely escort the hostage. However, if you use it on other Warframe, it will only prevent access to the terminal. Do not use it on anyone other than the hostage. Next is a fourth ability, Cataclysm. To make it easier to understand, I'll explain the fourth ability before the second ability. This ability expands the Rift domain into a normal dimension. It looks like this in the diagram. Enemies and allies who enter this domain are treated as being in the Rift. Therefore, both shooting from inside to outside and from outside to inside are disabled. And this Rift domain will shrink little by little with time. Once out of that domain, everything will return to the normal dimension. If you want to enter the Rift with Limbo again, you will need to do a rolling. Also, do not use it before inserting a data mass in mobile defense, as you can't insert the data mass. If other Warframe enters this field, they can attack one-sidedly with abilities from inside to outside. Next is the second ability, Stasis. This ability stops all enemies in the Rift. It is a lifeline of Limbo, so you should never forget to use it. Since it stops enemies in the Rift, it can also stop enemies in the fourth ability, Cataclysm. Note, however, that you cannot stop the Eximus in the Rift. However, you can stop bullets fired by Eximus in the Rift. If you want to stop Eximus, attack them and remove the Overgird. This will stop Eximus. The Overgird can be seen by looking at the enemy's health bar. If there is a light blue frame, there is Overgird. If not, the Overgird has been removed. Finally, there is a third ability, Rift Surge. This ability is effective against enemies who have been affected by the first and fourth abilities. This ability can be used to bring enemies back into the Rift when the effects of the first and fourth abilities have expired. It is best when you want to safely renew the fourth ability. With the augmentation from Arbiters of Hexis and Cephalon Suda, you can also increase Limbo's firepower by letting a large number of enemies get in the range of the fourth ability, and then using this ability. It looks like quite evil things to do. Let's take a look at the Archon Shards that match well with Limbo before showing the build. Limbo's casting speed is very slow, so it is a good idea to install 2 yellow Archon Shards in the Tau version. The other 3 are up to you. I want to have enough energy, so here I use the yellow Archon Shards to raise the initial amount of energy. Next, let's deal with Limbo's Nemesis. Nullifiers are Limbo's Nemesis. They always appear when fighting against Corpus and Orokin. Nullifiers have a special shield that disables your abilities by force, so they are quite troublesome. Therefore, you should use Miter, which you can get from the boss in Ceres, and the augmentation mod, which you can get from Steel Meridian. While adding the augmentation mod, it is even better if you increase the fire rate with these mods. With this build, you can charge up the Miter and hit the Nullifier's shield, and it will destroy the shield for sure. Shields destroyed by this weapon will not regenerate, so you can use your abilities safely. Using weapon with the magnetic element is also good, but I recommend this one because it is quite reliable. Here are the builds from here. First is a build dedicated to solo interception missions. Before installing the mod, port the abilities using the Helminth system. Since I want to use the first ability here, let's replace it with Banshee's ability. This will block Xmas ability, which makes it much safer. Then, let's use Rolling Guard, which is available in Arbitration to ensure basic survivability. If you don't have it, replace it with Quick Thinking, which you can get from Corrupt Ancients, and Premature Hooted, a login bonus in the extra slot. If not, you can do without it. That's it for Limbo's survivability. Use other slots to make it easier to use abilities with mods. Next, use 2 primed mods that is available from Marketeer to increase the amount of energy and duration. Next, use a corrupted mod, Overextended, to extend the range of abilities. Similarly, Hanging Drift from Lua Aesthetic and Stretch from Void Containers increase the range of abilities to maximize their range. For the rest, use the Energy Siphon from NightWave and the Energy Nexus from Murmur to give you more energy. Arcane is up to you. Finally, add an augmentation from Arbiters of Hexes or Cephalon Suda. The third ability allows you to increase Limbo's firepower temporarily. This will enable you to do the interception mission by yourself. In the interception mission, take the tower first. Then, keep up the first, second, and fourth abilities, and it will be fine. If the fourth ability disappears on its own, the nullifiers is definitely somewhere. Find them and hit them with a fully charged mitre with an augmentation mod, using the invisibility time after rolling. Once a nullifier is neutralized, all you have to do is to take the other tower and maintain your abilities. At the end of the round, cast the third ability to any enemy within range of the fourth ability. This should make it easier for you to swipe them all. Next is a build for mobile defense. The goal is to adjust the range of abilities to 49% and make the duration of abilities as long as possible. First, Narrow-Minded, a corrupted mod, is used to increase the duration by sacrificing range. Then, the Cunning Drift, which is available in Lua Aesthetic, is used to improve the range. Next, Natural Talent, available from the Assassin in the Invasion mission, and Speed Drift, available from the Aesthetic in Lua, will increase the casting speed. Furthermore, increase the duration with Constitution from Nightmare mission, and Ogre Message from the Bounty in Syndicates. As before, add the primed mod from Marketeer and Rolling Guard from Arbitration. Be sure to keep the second and fourth abilities when using this. However, the fourth ability should be activated after the data mass is in 30. You will want to move safely until you reach your destination, so pick the data mass and enter the rift. Then, exit the rift at the destination and activate the abilities after inserting the data mass. Don't forget to reactivate the second ability, as it will run out. When you are done defending, pick up the data mass in the fourth ability. And once you are out of the area, do a rolling and go to the next location. Next is a build for Corpus Spy and Rescue missions. Before installing mods, install automatic hacking abilities of Helminth system into the third ability. It will make hacking easier during spy and weekly rescue missions. Now, let's look at the build. First, we will use corrupted mods, Overextended and Fleeting Experience to increase the range and efficiency of the abilities. Next, add Streamline, which can be obtained from Void Containers, etc. With Streamline and Fleeting Experience, the efficiency of the abilities should improve considerably. Next, if you have private mod available from Marketeer, be sure to install it. Just putting them in will make it easier to use. Then, Constitution, which is available from Nightmare mission, will give you more time for the first ability. As for the aura, be sure to include Energy Siphon, which you can get at NightWave to restore energy. Next, use Coction and Cunning Drift, which is available from Aesthetic in Lua, to make it easier to use the abilities. Then, secure survivability with Rolling Guard, available from Arbitration. That's all for Limbo's Prime build. However, the Rolling Guard alone is not enough to ensure survivability, so I recommend using a Shade Prime as a companion. If you add Ghost, obtained from Void containers, Limbo's survivability will increase considerably. Then, it will be more convenient to install other mods like this. Finally, let's look at how to use it. If you use it for Corpus Spy, activate and deactivate the Force ability first. This will destroy Corpus camera in one shot. After that, roll into the rift and pass the lasers all the way through. If you need to hack, use the automatic hacking ability implanted into the third ability. This build also allows you to rescue the hostage for sure, making use of all but the force ability. First, use the passive to move safely to the holding cells. Before opening the door, use the third ability beforehand. When this ability is active, Limbo will light up in the energy color. Open the door and proceed rolling in front of the prison. Then spread the first and second abilities to the wardens around you. If you need to access a terminal outside of the holding cell's door, roll to exit the rift and access the terminal every time, or use the operator. Then use the third ability to open the prison door easily. When the hostage is found, activate the first ability on the hostage. Then roll and return. If you know how to use it, you can handle any rescue mission, no matter what it is. This is a summary of Limbo's usage and build in Warframe. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more, please subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Bye.